Good evening to you, beautiful televiewers of Viewpoint on TBS Television, and thank you very much for joining us. And of course, in tonight's edition, we are going to be looking at the promotion of ecotourism as a way of combating deforestation. And in tonight's edition, we had a reporter that went to two regions in the South region to actually see or analyze how ecotourism is being promoted there. And those two areas, Iboje and Koelong, have been recognized as references of promoting environmental protection and the reservation of biodiversity. We are having an expert with us tonight from Yaoundé, and of course, he will be taking us for about 26 minutes to discuss on ecotourism in Cameroon, how we could preserve our forest and how beneficial it is to the population. Let us welcome our guest, Mr. Alphonse Osamzok. He is the coordinator of Blessed Action for Africa, which deals with environmental issues and sustainable development. Good evening to you, sir, and thank you very much for joining the program tonight.
Good evening, Vanessa. It is a pleasure to be a guest for your program today.
All right. Before we ride on with our topic of discussion tonight, promoting ecotourism as a way of combating deforestation, so you will stay with us while we get the report prepared to us by Ate Bonaventure, where he visited Iboje and Koelong in the South region with the support of the Rainforest Journalism Fund and Pulsar Center to find out how the population have managed to preserve their forest through the promotion of ecotourism, equally finding out the difficulties they are facing. And of course, we will come back to discuss with our guests. Let us have the report prepared to us by Ate Bonaventure.
Iboje and Koelong are two villages in the South region that have gained the status of ecotouristic villages thanks to the conservation of their forest reserves and biodiversity. This trend is being threatened by mass deforestation championed by investors who have acquired thousands of hectares of forests in the Ocean Division in Cameroon, either for agricultural or mineral exploitation.
Ecotourism in Iboje is a means, economical means to fight against deforestation for the population, because in Iboje, ecotourism plays a central role in the education of young kids. For example, it has been several decades now when ecotourism started. Students or Iboje children were going to school, through ecotourism. They were paying their school fees while fishing, for example, that turtles, after protection of that turtles, marine turtles, where when you catch a turtle like this, when fishing, you bring it back home and they will finance. You can decide that they should finance your child's school.
The main economic activity here is fishing and subsistence agriculture. Every morning, the women here either go to the farm to harvest foodstuff or to the seashore to pick up crabs or other edible creatures. In this village, there are two environmental associations, Ebotu and Ntubeau, that advocate and sensitize the population and local authorities on the importance of biodiversity and the negative impacts of deforestation.
We have the heritage from the forest, and originally, forest enables you only to search firewood for cooking, and it's not the quantity is not as much as the deforestation. The people of Iboje don't promote deforestation because we have both a coastal and a forest heritage. We have activities that protect the forest. We want that our environment should be kept natural, and to stay natural, we have forest, we have the sea, and we have the environment as a whole. So in Eboje, we are not for deforestation.
Nkoelon is a village situated about 40 kilometers from Eboje. It harbors several protected and rare wildlife species such as the picatat bird. Here, the inhabitants have been trained on how to better preserve these gifts of nature that live in their forest for their own advantage.
Préservant la biodiversité, la nature, les aires à protéger, les aires en voie de disparition, on a l'avantage. Parce que je me dis que si actuellement les gens ne font que venir, et les touristes, je ne crois pas que un blanc qui vit bien à Washington, à Denver, peut venir ici pour venir voir la palmeraie. Il contemplera de venir voir la forêt et ce qu'il trouve dans la forêt. Donc la biodiversité, c'est une fierté pour nous. C'est notre patrimoine. Et on bénéficie de ça.
The traditional authorities here, with the support of some NGOs, recently succeeded in getting government support to reclaim more than 30,000 hectares of their forest land, which was about to be acquired by an investor via unorthodox means.
Aujourd'hui, l'homme d'Nkoelon est yeux ouverts, savoir l'importance de son village, l'importance de sa forêt, l'importance de ce qu'il peut faire dans sa forêt, qu'est-ce qu'il peut recueillir et qu'est-ce qu'il peut faire, qu'est-ce qui peut lui permettre d'envoyer son enfant à l'école et avancer dans la logique. Déforester des milliers d'hectares, pour nous, ce n'est pas nécessaire. C'est le pourquoi il faut qu'on demande, on plaide et on demande toujours au gouvernement, n'est-ce pas, de donner des limites raisonnables d'exploitation, parce que c'est ça notre problème.
The forests of Cameroon make up a significant portion of the Congo Basin, which is the world's second largest forest ecosystem after the Amazon in South America. The country's forests cover or make up around 20 million hectares, representing 48% of the national territory.
Very much, Ate Bonaventure, for the reports that you prepared for us. You visited Eboje and Koilong in the East region and you prepared these. Alphonse, we are talking about ecotourism as a way of combating deforestation. But before we get into what it is all about, it is important for us to know what ecotourism is all about.
Yes, ecotourism is that activity that enables to a state or to a local community to protect environment or to protect nature without destroying the nature, or that activity that enables a government or a local community to earn money and at one and the same time preserving the environment or preserving the nature. With the ecotourism, we have many ecotouristic sites in different localities, which are places of attractions, places that attract people, where tourists come to visit the beauty of the nature, when tourists come to see the trees, the forest, the biodiversities, wild animals and others. With many touristic places in a nations or in a local community, we have many strangers that comes there for tourism to admire the beauty of the nature. When these tourists arrive there is an economic activities which is launched by the local communities. Those tourists live in hotels. It means in that local communities, people that have hotels will earn money. women that cook foods or that had restaurants or run restaurants will earn monies. And one at the same time, each time a tourist enter into a park, that tourist will have to pay money. And per moment, there are many European tourists or American tourists that arrive in different eco-touristic places, and that offers donations in order to better protect the environment. Ecotourism is that activities that Cameroon and many African countries has to develop in order to earn money and one at the same time to protect the environment.
Okay, sir, from what you just gave us, ecotourism, I understand that it is when foreigners come in to visit some touristic sites in Cameroon, for instance, and as a result of that, there are a lot of benefits in which the population could have or could extort from these people. One, you just talk of they will be able to make money from maybe those who have hotels or those who have restaurants. That, I get, that is one of the benefits that the population will have. But then overall, what are other aspects that the population could benefit when they preserve their ecosystem?
One of the benefits of ecotourism is that in a locality, in a village where there is an ecotouristic park, the local population is implicated in the management of sustainable of the management of that environment or of the management of that park. People are empowered on sustainable development. People are empowered how to protect biodiversity. People are empowered how to welcome the tourists. It means local people or local population is implicated in how to manage the park and how to manage the animals that are in the park and how to protect the land, how to protect the ecosystem, that is, which is the source of attraction which bring many tourists. This is a form of decentralization because the management of our forests was just the job of the Ministry of Forests. But now, with many eco-touristic places, local population have something to do. They have something to do because, first of all, they are empowered on sustainable management of their forest. They are empowered how to protect the biodiversity, and they are empowered how to develop responsible attitude towards the natures and towards biodiversity, which brings the change of the mentality of local population. Those people now, instead to destroy the forest, become the guardians of the forest. Instead to destroy animals by killing them or selling them, now they become those that protect animals and those that watch over their forests and over their animals. Now, when they see, for example, a hunter who come from another village or another place to come and kill their animals, the local population that have been empowered will be the one to protect the animals by chasing those hunters who come to destroy and kill their animals. When they see people who come and cut the trees in an anarchy way, they will be the one to chase them and to protect the zone which is their ecotouristic park. This is one of the benefits that we can have with ecotourism, the empowerment of the population and the fact of implying them in the sustainable management of the ecotouristic park.
In the reports that we saw there, we discovered that aside from the ecosystem of Iboje and Koelong, the population are equally pleading on government to limit the aspect of deforestation, that is the felling down of trees in their locality, because they intend to preserve what they have. And equally, Mr. Alphonse, we know that there are foreigners who come in and carry out a vast deforestation of most of our forests here in Cameroon. So as a result of this, what can we do, not only as a population, but as stakeholders, to preserve our forest?
What we can do as stakeholders to preserve our forests, first of all, is to sensitize the government through many advocacy by explaining to the government that the forest that we have, it is the land or the home of many biodiversity species. It is the source of it is the thing that capture dioxide of carbon and that give oxygen to the whole world. And now the government have to diversify the source of income of our national budget by developing other activities which are not focused or concentrated in the exploitation of timbers or trees that are in the forest. The government, for example, have to invest in ecotourism in Cameroon. We have to develop and multiply the number of eco parks in Cameroon. These eco parks in Cameroon will attract many tourists from Europe, from European nations, from American nations, from Asian nations. Many researchers from all over the world will come in Cameroon to visit those eco parks, and by coming and doing their research in this eco park, this will bring many revenues to our nations. We will have the scientific tourism where many researchers will come and spend many times, many months in our forest doing many research, studying the species, studying the different animals and different plants that are in our forest. The government has to understand this. We have to multiply the number of many eco parks in Cameroon. This will attract many tourists, and when many tourists come into our nations, this will bring a lot of currency in our country. This will bring many incomes in our country. For example, like Kenya, the economy of Kenya is based on ecotourism. The economy of many countries like Zimbabwe and other countries of South Africa is based on ecotourism. We too in Cameroon can adopt the same strategy by multiplying the number of eco parks and focusing our economy in ecotourism. This will enable to protect our environment, to protect our forests, but at the same time to earn many incomes that will enable our country to become a developed country. It is possible.
All right. If you are just joining us, we are talking about promoting ecotourism as a way of combating deforestation. Sir, you just talk about what stakeholders can do to promote ecotourism, but I would equally like to find out from you if the population can benefit from their forest reserves without necessarily cutting down trees. Is that possible?
I don't know if I've very well understood your question, but I think that the forest can be a source of income without necessarily cutting down trees. This is why ecotourism is one of the best solutions to combat deforestation. And this is why I really said, first of all, that ecotourism is one of the strategy or one of the best methods that enables a government or a local community to earn money or to earn incomes without cutting down trees. Why? Because ecotourism is that activities that enable government or local community to protect their environment, to protect the nature, to protect the biodiversity, not by cutting trees, but by attracting tourists that comes to appreciate the beauty of the forest, by attracting tourists that comes to appreciate the beauty of the environment, to appreciate the touristic places of a community. It can be a hill like Mount Cameroon. Mount Cameroon can, for example, is a source that can attract many tourists. It can be, how do we say it, a river like Les Chutes de la Lobe in Cameroon. It can also be a touristic park like Park of Waza, where we found animals, elephants, monkeys, serpents, turtles, and many biodiversities that are in that park. This is, each time that tourist comes there, they have to pay something in order to admire the beauty of the nature. They have to pay something in order to see animals. They have to pay some things because where there is a touristic park, there are beautiful hotels, there are people that cook foods, there are many economic activities around eco-touristic parks. And these economic activities enables a local community or a government to earn incomes. It means it is possible to protect the environment and earn incomes without destroying the forest. And I really think that this is the best strategies that our government or African government have to adopt to emphasize on ecotourism, to develop ecotourism, to turn many villages, for example, in Cameroon, in ecotouristic villages. There are beautiful sites in Cameroon. There are beautiful mountains, and hills in Cameroon that can attract many tourists. Nice rivers in Cameroon and valleys that can attract tourists. There are beautiful places, trees, for example, in the eastern region, in the south region, in northwest, in southwest, in far north, in Gaoundéré, or in littoral. There are many, many natural, beautiful places in Cameroon. If our government, for example, if the Ministry of Tourism decide to mobilize a budget and to implement many projects of eco-touristic parks that will attract many tourists, this will help to earn income. It will enable to our government to earn income for its budget. It will enable to many people that have invested in hotels to earn income. It will enable many women, for example, food on that have restaurants to earn income. It will also enable many people that have agencies of transportation, public transportations, to earn income. Even the local population in villages that have been trained as ecotouristic guides or guards are the one. Those people are the one that lead Europeans or tourists in the bush, showing them the best hills of the village, showing them the best animals in the parks and everything. Even all those people also have incomes. This is the equation that will enable, for example, Cameroon to earn money without destroying the environment, to earn money without destroying our forests, to earn money without killing our animals. We really need it, and many local NGOs or many communities or many experts have to advocate so that our government, for example, should understand the necessity of ecotourism. Ecotourism, for example, is the source of incomes for countries like Tanzania, like Kenya, or like Zimbabwe in South Africa. All those countries in South Africa base their economy on ecotourism. And Cameroon, which is Africa in miniature, which has all the landscape of Africa in the same country, also can capitalize it in order to develop ecotourism in our three Sahelian regions, which are the far north, and Gaoundéré. When we also see the landscape of the eastern regions with that forest of Congo Basin, it can also be turned into many eco-touristic parks in the eastern region. When we go to the south region of Cameroon, when we look at that hill, those hills, when we look at those forests, those big trees, those big timbers, we can develop and create many eco-touristic parks even in the southern region of Cameroon. When we go to the northwest of Cameroon, when we look at those beautiful hills in the northwest and in the southwest, in the grasslands of the west and northwest and southwest of our country, we can also create, the Ministry of Tourism can create many eco parks there that can attract many tourists, so that we should be earning money without destroying the nature, but by preserving the nature and biodiversity. This is the best strategy that our country has to adopt. I really think that the Ministry of Tourism of Cameroon will understand the necessity of developing ecotourism and develop many ecotouristic parks in different regions of Cameroon in order to create not only many eco parks, but also to create many economic poles with hotels, with nice restaurants, and best attractive places that will attract many tourists, so that tourists should come in Cameroon to see the beauty of our country, to admire the beauty of our meals, the food that we eat here in Cameroon, and so that many people, young people in Cameroon, should find jobs, because ecotourism has this way to create green jobs. For example, the eco parks, the guys that are working in the parks, this is the job. It creates decent job. The guys that, for example, serve like guides for tourists, that guide tourists in the forest. The guys that, for example, guide the researchers in the forest. The guys that go in the forest, the scientists that go in the forest to study plants and to study animals. They recruit guys that go with them in the forest, that spend months, weeks in the forest with them, and this creates decent jobs. There are many benefits with ecotourism, and I really hope that our country, Cameroon, has to take it into consideration to become a country like Kenya, like Tanzania, like Nairobi, which are focused and based on ecotourism.
Okay, so thank you very much for extensively talking about how beneficial ecotourism is to our economy, to the local population, to stakeholders, to the villages as a whole. Alphonse Ochamzok, you are the coordinator of Blessed Action for Africa, which deals with the environment and sustainable development. So, what is this organization doing to promote environmental protection?
Yes, as the coordinator of Blessed Action for Africa, what I want to say is that Blessed Action for Africa is an organization that fights against climate change and poverty and one at the same time. And how do we fight against climate change and poverty and one at the same time? Is just by doing reforestation, not with all kinds of species, but with useful species like fruit trees. By planting fruit trees in many hectares, in hundreds of hectares and thousands of hectares, this enables to restore degraded ecosystem. And when those trees have grown, those trees will produce their natural services, which is to capture dioxide of carbon and to produce oxygen to the whole world. And the fruits that come from those trees are the benefits of local populations, which are the beneficiary of all our projects. Those fruits can be sold by the local communities. Those fruits can be processed and use juice that can be sold and generate many incomes that will transform and improve the life of different people that live in rural communities. How do we do to protect the nature? We protect the nature through reforestation or through agroforestry, by empowering local population, by empowering people of many municipalities, responsible of many municipalities, by empowering religious authorities, traditional authorities on the necessity of fighting against climate change through agroforestry. And when we arrive, for example, in a village, we hold many meetings with the authorities of the village, traditional rulers, religious, the president of associations of women, leaders of association of youth. And when we gather them and we empower them on the necessity of combating climate change and fighting against poverty by planting fruit trees in their localities, This is to turn them into change makers so that they too can become factors of protection of environment. With the training we offer to them, each of them become a change maker now, which impact positively other people of his village, other people of his locality, in order to protect biodiversity and the environment. Because we sensitize them, we educate them, we train them on agroforestry, and we, through our project, we mobilize villages, traditional rulers, we mobilize religious rulers, president of leaders of women association, leaders of youth association, and we plant trees together. We plant trees together, and they are the ones that watch over those trees that have been planted in order to protect the environment and to produce fruits that will generate incomes for the benefits of their women and youth who do not have jobs.
Alphonse at Chamzok, it has been a pleasure having you discuss about how we could protect our forest or our ecotourism by how we could combat deforestation through ecotourism. And of course, I hope that you learned back a lot what we could do. We should avoid catching species that could be used as a means to attract tourists into our countries. Thank you for bringing out your expertise. Thank you equally to our production team tonight. Raymond and Nicola did a wonderful job tonight. That I do appreciate. Nevertheless, stay tuned to DBS television, and of course take a rendezvous for tomorrow. God willing, we'll be there. You know, having a live program and online is not always that easy. We love you. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.